Welcome back, YouTube. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Dogecoin's new position in the pecking order. We're also going to be talking about some things to kind of look out for and kind of some big steps that Doge needs to take going forward. And we're also going to take a look at some new targets. So let's take a look here at Coin Market Cap. This is a free app. This is something that most of you will be able to do for free. You can go in there, you can take a look and see that Dogecoin is currently at number 6, right? We have done roughly about, well, not even roughly, we're over $10 billion in volume in the last 24 hours. We have about surpassed around a $40 billion market cap. As you can see, 85%, almost 100% return here in the last 7 days. 31% on the 24 hour and around 4% on the hour. Absolutely killing it. For those of you who've been wondering, technically speaking, Doge has been hovering around the number 10 spot, sometimes moving up roughly, but for the last few years, Doge has been around the number 10 spot. And so we have, Shiba's moved up as well. So that's why it's here. Because technically, I think, yeah, Tron and Toncoin, these two were technically in the top 10 as well. But as you can see, they're getting pushed out. And Doge has leapfrogged 4 positions, right, from its average over the last few years, right? So this includes notably USDC, XRP, and Cardano. I didn't feel like Cardano was going to drop out of the top 10, which it did. It just kind of performing a little well. That's why it's back in there. But technically speaking, Doge has leaped these 3 coins here. And the reason I wanted to point that out is because it's done it considerably, right? This is the volume and the momentum coming into the coin here. You'll see that it's now has about creeping up on $4 billion above XRP, right? Cardano is blowing it out of the water at 21 billion. It's more than double of what Sheeb's market cap is. Doge is really just killing it right now. So this is something that we're looking forward to. If we're going to get to like that dollar mark, this is where so especially around like that 146 billion market cap, this is where we start inching your way into the top 5. Now, I know that's a way out, or ways out, but that's just something to kind of look for. Now let's take a look here at the charts because I want to point out some things here. So for those of you that watched my last video, I mentioned the possibility of something like this happening. And I talked about the importance of building out floors because right now, with the amount of capital that's coming into Doge, we are not doing that. We are just putting out these God candles here and just absolutely crushing it with the amount of volume and energy surrounding the coin. And that's typically going to happen here, especially as long as Bitcoin is performing well and we have overall capital coming into the market. That capital allocation from institutions is going to be spread through coins that they believe are going to perform well. And obviously, retail Doge has been chosen as one of those coins by institutions as well as retail. Retail is certainly helping as well, not to the tune of $10 billion in 24 hours, but certainly playing their part as far as being invested in this coin, and actually even holding the interest over the last 4 years. So what I would like to see before we get into price targets and looking at some of the things that happened last time, I want to point out what I would like to see is for Doge to actually build out some floors here. I don't like when we have these consistent huge candles, and I'll give you the reason why. When we have these big candles, what happens is when there is, because there will be at some point, there will be a point where people are going to start taking profits and institutions are going to sell. There'll be some panic because don't forget, there are swing traders piling into these coins as well. And there needs to be a point where the market agrees that this is a good deal, right? And the more of these candles we put up, and the bigger that gap gets between the last time we established some support and where the market agrees that there's some exchanging to be done there, where the buy and sell orders, the wider the opportunity is for that asset to come down and grab that pool of liquidity. Because the question is, the bigger this gap gets, the question is going to say, okay, well, in the event that people start to take profit, where is that pool of liquidity going to be, right? And you want to have these floors built out so that the pool of liquidity is kind of moving up with the asset. That's what you call like a healthy trend. So you're able to continue to move up. And what I would call, if you didn't watch my last video, I call it building stairs. You'll say, okay, well, we're at 35 cent. Okay, but we have a pool of liquidity right here. We built some, pretty much what you pool liquidity would be like some sideways movement, some exchanges back and forth, some red, some green, just to kind of put it in layman's terms. But you'll say, okay, we have a pool of liquidity around 27 cents. That's where we're going to go to grab liquidity. But if we have this giant candle up to 35 cent and something happens, something in the macros, whatever, anything that can cause like panic in the market, where's that pool of liquidity? You don't want that to be at 20 cent or 18 cents, because that's how you you get the wind taken out of sales and stuff like that. So there's just something to kind of look forward to. That's what I'm looking for Doge. That's kind of what my expectations are. I would love to see that for Doge and for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is not the exception. This is that exclusive Doge thing. I would like to see us build out these floors. It can certainly do it at a higher level. I'm not saying it needs to do it now, but it's just something for those of you who are invested long-term or who have been invested coming into the market a few years ago. I know you're all green right now, and you're probably wondering the same thing. You know, what is this price action going to look at like going forward? Are we in peak bull run? The answer to that is no. Time wise, we are not in peak bull run, right? So time wise, we have months to go. So this is why this can go astronomically higher. And this is why we're going to start talking about some higher price targets, is because this can go a lot higher than what we're looking at right now. So that's one of the things I'm looking for. So let's get into price targets here overall and where I'm getting these numbers from. So if we look back in history, right, this dotted green line here is going to represent our current price action, which is roughly where we are, right? This is the 27 cent range. So if we look to where was Doge rejected on the last cycle, before we get into any of the bigger numbers and stuff, but you'll see that this is actually a common price. That 25 to 27 cent range was certainly a popular range for rejections and retest alike. But the next target would, if you move this line up here to the point where we've seen several rejections, that was the 30 cent range. 30 cents. So that was kind of what I was talking about in my last video. I didn't necessarily show it, but this was kind of like the breakdown I was giving, saying that, hey, we're going to go to that 30 cents range, because that's been a big deal for us. And after that, for the next, I'll say 10, 15 cents, typically speaking, it moved in averages of around 5 cents, right? Because if you take a look at 30 cents, you'll see that the next one here is around, because you can take a look here back on, what is this, October 21st, excuse me, October 29th, 2021, and August 21st, excuse me, August 16th, 2021, you'll see that consistently we were retesting around that 35 cents range, right? And I could zoom in, but I was going to show you on a macro here. So it's only going to look like maybe 4 or 5 tests, but it was more than that. But I'll just going to leave it here on the macro. That's just in case to give you guys some points of reference if you want to go back in time and take a look at it. But those were, take a look around those dates for those of you that chart, and you'll see the retest around 35 cents, right? And that's going to be technically a 5 cents increase from the 30 cent range. And then you can take a look here. You can take a look, and then you'll have it around 45 cents here as our next major point of resistance here. And this was around June 3rd, 2021 and April 15th, 2021. And the April 15th is one before we had that big boom to the upside. And this is one of the things I can use this as a point to prove what I was saying earlier about building the stair steps, is if you take a look here on April 17th, 2021, we were at around 46 cents. But we were putting up these God candles in those huge points of interest, to the point where the capital was coming in so crazy, but everyone was trying to time the top of that time. And they're saying, okay, well, when do I get out? And that's the point I meant by saying that we need to build stair steps so that you're not having such wild swings. I know crypto is typically known for that, but it's just something to kind of look for. It's when you're talking about the strength of a movement, because you can say this is a stronger movement because we built out these floors. So that's something I'm looking for. But anyway, on the April 19th, you can take a look, you come down, you'll see that it pretty much cut in half down to 21 cents. Even here on the red, it didn't close down there, but it went down to 12 cents, right? From 45 cents, it went down to 12, right? And then we had that big run up. So you can see not necessarily concerned, but you can see why I like to build out the floors here, because I know crypto is known for these wild swings, but you're going to be able to get stronger movements here if you're able to move up those pockets, those pools of liquidity, so that you don't have to reach so low before your next run up, right? Because at that point, if you're building the pools of liquidity as the asset is going, it's, you don't know where they're going to be, right? So this is one of the reasons, and I'd be excited for us to get to 30 cents and then flip it, and then hopefully turn 30 cents into that floor. That's what I would like ideally for Doge. I would like for us to flip it and turn 30 cents into that floor, so that that can be like a strength point for going forward and retesting that. So those are the targets here for coming up here. We have 30 cents, we have 35, and around 45 cents. So those are the targets here. So yes, there is a gap in strength between 35 cents and 45 cents if we're looking at history. So I know it's not necessarily saying 40 cents. You know, typically people like to use the psychology of going to like a round number and things like that. But based off of history, there was a large amount of capital that came in last time that pushed Doge from around 35 cents to 45 cents. So that could be another gap zone for the asset. So let's kind of keep that in mind going forward. I am excited about these price action, the price actions that we're seeing here. I'm going to do some adjustments here on the chart so we can get some better projections going forward. But I wanted to show you Doge has absolutely crushed it, and even for the time frames that we're using fib, it has absolutely blown out of the zones here. So we're gonna have to do some adjustments and bring things back into perspective, and create some new zones here for Doge and the flow of liquidity, and get some ideas on what to expect going forward. So overall, we're going to be looking at that. That's some price targets here. If we do see some red or some people taking profits, it is not the end of the world. Again, that is the process of building a floor. So if you see a sell off or people taking profits, keep in mind that if we're building strength at any of these levels, that has to happen. You can't build strength on the floor with green candles. Green candles mean up. You can't build strength on any of these floors with green candles. So just gotta keep that in mind here. At some point, you're going to see that negotiation in the market. Don't look at red as just people selling, especially in a bull run, if you're seeking higher prices. Now, if you're trying to get out, then obviously, yeah, you can look at red as an opportunity to sell. But if you're seeking higher prices from where you are now, look at the red days as a negotiation between buyers and sellers about what's a current fair price for this asset. And then the market will determine that. And if you're able to build out that floor, again, that's what we get into as far as for flipping it and then building that opportunity here and to use that floor as a launching pad to go retest some of those higher highs. So overall, that is my breakdown. Here's what we're looking at. Doge is number 6 in the top 10. It is absolutely crushing it. And we're going to do some updates here. And as I said, and my next video, we're going to flip some of these zones here and take a look at some of the higher prospects here. And I'll do one on the higher time frames, and also talk about that dollar range and to put things into perspective. So if you found value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys in the next video.